What's up, digital investors? I hope you guys are all having a great start to your day, or maybe you're wrapping up your day. Depends on when you're watching the video. Today we have Bloomberg's new commodity outlook is bullish on Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin's not a commodity, but they did mention Bitcoin and gold within this report, and they're definitely bullish on it. And this article even says they're basically the exact opposite of Goldman. So if you saw any of my earlier videos where we talk about Goldman, or if you've seen all the Goldman news on other people's channels, this is like the exact opposite. So it's some really good news. Also, we know that Grayscale is buying Bitcoin like crazy. It's buying more Bitcoin per week, per month than it's being produced off miners. And now 6 million Bitcoin are secured by shared custody. And this is something to do with mt.goxx. So we have Grayscale buying so much Bitcoin, more Bitcoin that's being mined per month, and 6 million Bitcoin are also locked up in custody. So it's just a lot of Bitcoin being held and a lot of Bitcoin being bought. I also want to show you guys these three factors show why Bitcoin is poised to plummet towards 8,000. It might sound really bearish with all this positive good news, but if you guys look at the chart, remember that we are sitting right up above a major resistance. And as of right now, Bitcoin is down. Bitcoin's at 9,400. We are at 94.53 right now. We'll come back. We'll look at the price after. Let's start off with this. Let's start off with Bloomberg's new commodity outlook is bullish on Bitcoin. For June 2020 has been released, and it shows some support for Bitcoin. Bloomberg's opinion on future commodity prices is that they will stay on a downward path, with the exception gold and Bitcoin. Granted, Bitcoin is not a commodity, but it is still included in the report. Three key takeaways for this report is Bloomberg has released its June commodity outlook report and mentions Bitcoin as an asset that could appreciate in 2020. Bloomberg's stance on Bitcoin is the polar opposite of Goldman Sachs, who recently declared Bitcoin essentially worthless. While Bitcoin has been deemed worthless by many in the past, the crypto industry maintains growth. This report is in stark contrast to Goldman Sachs' recent take on Bitcoin, that it is not a suitable investment at all. Goldman went so far as to say that Bitcoin and other cryptos lack scarcity, which to say that Bitcoin lacks scarcity, I mean, I think the one thing that Bitcoin has going for itself is scarcity. I mean, that's the easiest thing to see. There's only ever 21 million. You cannot create more. So I don't know how people even come up with that. Like, at least make a compelling argument, right? So anyways, they say cryptos lack scarcity, cash flow, and are not a hedge against inflation. Bloomberg's report could not have been more opposite. The report said that among the few assets up in this tumultuous year, gold and Bitcoin are building foundations for further price appreciation in our view. They explained that it's logical to expect the gold to outperform most assets in an environment of unparalleled central bank easing, and we foresee the precious metal maintaining the upper hand in most scenarios. Here, Bloomberg cites economic easing from central banks as a good reason to use gold as a hedge. Commodities that have scarcity have historically been very useful as a hedge against inflation and economic easing. So, for the same reasons Bloomberg has a positive outlook for gold, it has hopes of a bright 2020 for Bitcoin as well. Bloomberg also stated in its report that the metal and the crypto remain our top candidates to advance in 2020 with added rally fuel from COVID-19. I think that's interesting, guys. So not only cryptos, but also metals, and they're saying that it's having rally fuel from COVID-19 as if COVID-19 is fueling this. And if they believe that COVID-19 is really, kind of got people to start investing in hedges. If we see another COVID-19, and I hope we don't, but if we do, if it comes back again and we see a wave 2, I bet Bloomberg would get even more bullish. Because if they're saying this is rally fuel, well, what would a wave 2 do? Bloomberg continued this sentiment and even mentioned that Bitcoin is a resting bull. The report makes that case for both the gold and Bitcoin as a tool against inflation, but also as assets that will appreciate should the stock market roll over. So they are expecting, should the stock market collapse, that assets like Bitcoin and gold will appreciate. Interesting, because a lot of people say and a lot of people think that Bitcoin is correlated to the stock market. And right now it kind of is. When the stock market goes up, Bitcoin goes up. And if the stock market dumps, Bitcoin dumps. But that correlation most likely isn't going to be around forever. At some point, Bitcoin is most likely going to decouple from all of the other traditional asset classes, and it will start to move its own way. And I think that eventually altcoins will also decouple from Bitcoin, and they will start to move and jive and rhyme and dance in their own way. Bloomberg said that in order for Bitcoin to stop appreciating, it would need some sort of significant event to destroy confidence in the integrity of its protocol. Given Bitcoin's enormous and growing computing power, this seems highly unlikely, as the cost to achieve this is not insignificant. It's interesting, guys. So unless confidence is diminished in the integrity of its protocol coming from Bloomberg, then it will continue to appreciate. It won't stop appreciating. That is because what are the odds of everybody losing confidence in the integrity of its protocol? Do you know what I think people are going to lose confidence in the integrity of its protocol? The US dollar. We're seeing it happening now. So just think about that. Senior commodity strategist from Bloomberg Intelligence, Mike McGlone, reaffirmed the stance of the tweet. He says, in the unlikely event of a significant change for the worst, we expect the hashtag Bitcoin price to continue appreciating. Unprecedented central bank easing is accelerating Bitcoin maturation toward a digital version of gold. Digital version of gold. That's insane they're saying this, while accentuating oversupply constraints in most of the market. McGlone also said before the report in May that COVID-19 is hastening the shift away from paper money and stimulating plenty of quantitative easing, which is helping independent stores of value such as Bitcoin and gold. Guys, another thing I want you to watch for, one thing that I have been seeing, if you're in the crypto space, you've most likely heard of the reset. You most likely have heard of leveling the playing field. A lot of this stuff comes from people who are very much invested into XRP, right? You hear a lot of that with the XRP army and stuff, but whether you like the XRP army or whether you hate it, look in the world. Look at mainstream media. Look at your Facebook. I saw a YouTube video yesterday from, I believe it was the World Economic Forum, and I'm debating whether or not to show it to you guys on this channel. And the World Economic Forum is talking about a great reset. They are talking about how we as a planet need a reset. And in that video, they are also showing US dollar bills being printed. And then they're talking about we need a reset. Look for these things in the mainstream media, because if you're in the cryptoverse, if you're aware of these things, we already know this stuff. We listen to it on a daily basis. So when you see it, it might bounce off your head. You might not think twice about it. But when you see it in mainstream, when you see it being put out to the masses, keep your eyeballs open. It seems like nothing to you. It seems like stuff you already know. But remember, for most people, this is the first time they're seeing this stuff. They're going to start hearing about a reset. Watch the reset agenda being pushed onto you. With that said, guys, the price of Bitcoin today is $94.60, like we said. Ethereum's at $236. XRP is at, XRP is at 19 cents. Basically, guys, right now the entire market is dumping as I record this video. So I don't know what's going to happen by the time you watch it. It may be lower, it may be recovering, but the whole market is kind of taking a bit of a dump right now. Cardano's at 8 cents, Litecoin at 45. Tezos at 283, Chainlink at 425. Let's see where VeChain is. VeChain's at 0.0069. VeChain's actually not dumping that bad. And then we have Theta at 25 cents. So that one's retracing quite a bit. With that said, those are our prices in our fear and greed index. Let's give this a refresh. Still sitting at 54. So it's at 54 today. It was at 54 yesterday. It was at 51 last week and 55 last month. So for the most part, the past month, we were just kind of sitting right at neutral, kind of not doing much. Bitcoin trends on the 12 months, we are starting to curve up. So something to look for. Maybe this will come down, but either way, we do have a bit of an uptick. Now, it may just be a small uptick like this one here, but this may be the start to the next rally. Although I personally, I don't think it's coming right now. I think we're going to reject off here. And I might be completely wrong. And do not take anything I say as trading advice. I'm not a day trader. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm nothing like that. But one observation that I see that I will share with you guys is each time we hit this resistance, we dump. Every single time. This time here, we didn't even hit the resistance and we dumped. And if we broke through and we held through, I wouldn't be thinking this way. But the fact that we've come up, we've retraced, we've come up, we're retracing, we're dumping now even harder. You know, we're starting to retrace more. It looks like we're going to come down and we're probably going to trade here and maybe come up and trade. And it looks like we're just going to trade. And if you look at the past Bitcoin charts and the past big macro patterns like this before bull runs, it does the same thing. Usually it just comes and it just coils in here, and by the time it gets here, it's getting so coiled down, and then it just starts to pop. It starts to go. But usually it doesn't go parabolic right out of this. It's a slow rise up, and then towards the end of the bull run, it starts booming. It's insane. Any of you guys who were around in 2017, 2018, you guys know just how insane it gets. If you guys like daily cryptocurrency videos, consider subscribing to the channel. I make daily crypto news, and I also cover any coins you guys want to see. If you guys could also like the video, that would help me immensely. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers within about a month or two, and I think we can definitely do it. I think this community is growing strong. You guys are awesome. You guys are giving me a ton of support, and I really, really appreciate it. With that said, let's move into 6M Bitcoin are secured by shared custody. It's almost 1/3 of the entire Bitcoin supply. All right, and this was gained adoption after the mt.goxx heist. Okay. So Bitcoin is generally secured with a combination of a public and private key. In order to transact on the Bitcoin network, a user needs to sign each transaction with their private key. This works fine in most use cases, but there are situations where the setup is not ideal. For example, let's say the founder of a crypto exchange secures all of the firm's assets with their private key. This may lead to several problematic situations. What happens if a founder suddenly dies, gets hacked, or decides to engage in an exit scam? In all of those situations, the exchange would go belly up and users would lose their funds. In order to alleviate these issues, a soft fork was introduced in 2012 that enabled the use of multi-signature wallets. Bitcoins can now be secured with multiple SIGs, where X out of N signatures would be required to spend it. This means that wallets can now be controlled by multiple users without any one user having the ability to spend coins on their own. mt.goxx spurred the adoption. The same exchange founder could secure all the deposits with 5 signatures and require at least 3 signatures for a transaction. These 5 signatures could belong to the various company executives. They could even delegate one or more of the signatures to a trusted third party. We observed that mass adoption of this feature only began in 2015. There's a simple explanation for this. mt.goxx, after the notorious hack, the community realized that a decentralized system should not rely on a single point of failure. As most individual holders still do not use this feature, the number of Bitcoin stored in multi-signature wallets could also be used as a good indicator of what proportion of Bitcoin is held by businesses. And this is the graph for Bitcoin being stored. And as we can see, it's on the rise and it's near, this is basically all-time highs. It's basically holding at all-time highs. And we have Grayscale buying more and more. We have more and more retail coming on every day, more institutions waking up, the dollar's being printed into oblivion. And I expect these things to only go up, and I think price is going to follow that. I wouldn't be making cryptocurrency videos if I didn't believe in the cryptocurrency space. Let's move on to the bearish side for the short-term bearish side, because long-term I am bullish, but short-term, personally, I'm bearish, and I might be completely wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Actually, I hope I'm not wrong. I'd love to buy more low. I would love the opportunity to buy Bitcoin again at 5,000, 6,000. So I hope my gut is right, to be honest. I know some of you guys might be freaking out, like, what, you want the price to go lower? Like, yes, because if you believe in this long-term and everything else is just noise, I want so many opportunities to buy low, and if the world's going to give me opportunities to buy low, I'm going to take it. I'm going to continue taking opportunities to buy Bitcoin when everybody is crying about it. So Bitcoin extended its overnight bout of consolidation, struggling to gain momentum in either direction despite posting a rejection at 9,800 yesterday. The benchmark crypto now appears to be well positioned to see further weakness as it struggles to surmount its near-term resistance. Analysts are pointing to a few key factors that show why this sell-off could be far-reaching. Despite shattering the resistance that sits between 9,700 and 10,000 earlier this week, this region has once again become what appears to be an insurmountable level. Bitcoin is trading down marginally at its current price of $9,670. This is around the level at which the crypto has been trading at throughout the past several days, forming a relatively tight trading range between 9,400 and 9,800. It now appears that Bitcoin could see some further weakness in the near term due to the growing weakness of the lower boundary of its current trading range. One analyst pointed to this possibility in a recent tweet, explaining that the 9,400 support has been tested on 7 occasions over the past week. Because frequently tested support levels are a sign of weakness, it is possible that this level will soon break and Bitcoin will lead lower. And that is true, guys. It's kind of like poking holes is how I've been explained it. The more that an asset, when you're looking at candlestick charts, the more that it hits a certain, say, resistance line or support line, the more likely it is to break it. It's like poking holes inside of, let's say you were holding a sheet and every time Bitcoin hits this sheet, it pokes a hole in it. Well, the more holes you poke, eventually you will break through because you keep weakening it, right? So the more times Bitcoin, let's say, falls on a support line, the more likely it is to fall through because it's showing massive weakness and it keeps trying to poke through. And that was something explained to me by people much, much smarter than me. So that is not my original thought. That is from actual professional traders in books that I have read. One analyst spoke about these factors, noting that Bitcoin's price is declining while its open interest rises. Funding is positive, and that a whale in OKEX futures is using a proximity algo bot. He believes that the confluence of all these factors suggests that a move to the lower 8,000 region is imminent for Bitcoin. Insane. So these guys are using algorithmic trading bots, and even the bots are showing that downside action is imminent for Bitcoin. So, and guys, just keep in mind, it's short term, right? They're talking about Bitcoin going to 8,000. Now, I think Bitcoin might come down here and test this lower band of support. So they're only talking about 8,000, which is roughly about right here. And that's like, if Bitcoin doesn't come down and test 8,000, that'd be a little weird. It'd be a little weird if it started just riding up from here. You want back tests. You want to confirm support. So if anything, it'd be good if Bitcoin could drop down to 8,000 and then try to come through this again. It is poking it, guys. Like I said, the more we keep getting rejected every time, but the more that we poke it, the more that we try to poke it, the eventually we're going to break through because we're weakening it, right? We're poking holes in it. So eventually I do think we're going to break up and out. With all the money printing going on, with Grayscale buying so much Bitcoin, institutions, retail, all the news we keep seeing, I cannot see Bitcoin breaking down out of this pattern. I see it rallying out of it. I just don't see it rallying out of it right now. And there's definitely a little bit more triangle to fill. So anyways, guys, that's my opinion. If you guys enjoyed the video, please go ahead and give it a like. And if you want to see tomorrow's video and you want to stay up to date with cryptocurrency news, then please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am a new YouTube channel. I'm about less than 2 weeks old. So trying to grow, and I'm looking very forward to growing the community with you guys. With that said, hope you did enjoy the video. Hope you guys all have a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.